Richie, it's not been an easy week for MLS in terms of the CBA and the players trying to get through to this point with Orlando, but that all pales into insignificance, and the game does as a whole with regards to what has been going on, the social unrest around the world, starting with the tragic death of George Floyd a week ago, and we've all been watching on, incredulous at what has been happening. And a real uprising to try and all get around a similar cause. You have been one of the players who has been very vocal about this as of yesterday when you tweeted out. I just want to bring this up now because it's important that we shine a light on this and talk about what you are feeling right now and what you've had to say on Twitter yesterday, when one of the it was a brilliantly crafted piece that you put on Twitter, and anyone who hasn't seen it, find Richie Laryea's Twitter, please go on and read what you have to say in detail. But how is it possible that in 2020, we're still dealing with so much hate and disparity towards Black people? I clearly don't have the answers, but I've been looking and searching tirelessly to find them. And then at the end, I'm by no means supporting the violence or looting going on right now. In light of these recent events, I believe it's time we all stand together and fight against racial prejudice and continue to educate, learn, and have these conversations to bring about the necessary change in the world. And I think we would all absolutely 100% agree with that and everything you said within your statement. But as someone who has lived through this, not just in Canada, but in the United States as well, what has it been like for you the last 7 days or so?
Yeah, it's been tough, to be honest, just because for me, I look at that, and now with the son, it's my dad had those conversations with me when I was here, and I think Canada's pretty good about things. We're not perfect, but I would say this country has it maybe better than a lot of other countries do. But my dad had that conversation with me when I was growing up here, and then he had it again with me again when I was going off to the States. And I was, I think, so naive at the time. I didn't even realize what he was really even saying to me, and if it even made sense. And I was like, where is this guy coming from? Like, this doesn't exist. And you hear about the stories, but you don't really think stuff like this would happen to you. So then yeah, I think what brought it to light for me and why I wanted to share a lot of stuff was because of my son. I know that I have to have a conversation like this with him somewhere down the line. I was seeing an 8-year-old girl online going through situations with her dad, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, she's 8, she shouldn't be thinking about what to do when police are near her, when she's around a certain group of people. It's crazy to me. So I think all of that stuff made me want to speak out, because I think a lot of people don't know, and I think I have a platform to show people that change can be brought about, and we shouldn't still be living in this in a world like we're living in the early 1900s or something like that. So yeah, it's been difficult. I definitely feel for the people that are protesting very peacefully and not really being heard, and as they've done for years. And like I said, I don't support or condone this the riots and the looting, because that's obviously not doing anything for the people that are trying to peacefully get their word across. So it's I think a very tricky situation, but I think also the outpour of support from a lot of white people that I've seen has been amazing. I think this is the first time you see everyone as a collective group get behind one cause, which has been pretty nice to see.
Richie, I just want to thank you, first of all, for your post and for those words and for allowing us to have this conversation. For me, my heart's broken in all this, and I can't even imagine what it's like for you. I'm not, I see you, I love you for who you are, and that's it. And I would say that, I could talk to you about this for hours, and maybe one day we will, and maybe that can somehow help somebody. What can we do here on a soccer show for soccer? Soccer is incredulous in terms of its acts of racism. My heart hurts when I watch Antonio Rudiger claim that he's being racistly, from abuse from fans in December, not just a few months ago in the Premier League, and then comes off the field and everybody wants to just talk about his bad tackle instead of that. And for me, that's wrong right away. That's just my own thoughts and covering the game. What can soccer do, not just Major League Soccer, but what do you think we can do as a game to continue to help this?
Yeah, I think especially in Europe, I haven't encountered a situation yet here in the MLS or in North America, but I would say in Europe, I don't know, maybe more of a penalty for these clubs that have fans that do these do the monkey chants or whatever it may be, more of a penalty. And maybe the players on that team also being vocal on their platforms. The guys that aren't of color, they can get on their platforms and tell these fans who adore them, they're their idols, to be like, hey, like this isn't fair. So I think from that standpoint, it would have to come a lot from the players. And I actually think I saw Kimmage write something on it earlier today where he was saying us as players, we need to be a bigger voice. And I think he's 100% right, especially in Europe. The game is so powerful. So if you hear someone like Messi or Ronaldo or whoever it may be on a repetitive basis hammering into their fans about how racism shouldn't be allowed, not only in stadiums, just anywhere at all. So I think if it doesn't have to be guys of that magnitude, but like maybe guys around the clubs that have a tendency for being a little bit racist and whatnot, those players get into the fans. And, I've seen instances where players are condoning, trying to calm down, and the black athlete who's being racially abused. But maybe while you're doing that, also guys are going to the crowd and, having words with them and not being as nice about it to them. So I think until stuff like that happens more regularly, I don't think much will change.
My view is, just a quick point there, is that we've never been severe enough, as a group, as a team, whether it be in England or in Eastern Europe or anywhere. And the players should be walking off that field from this day forward. And my thoughts here are, this has been an appalling week for everyone concerned. And you're coming on our show, and we thank you for it, Richie. And your post was exceptional, the way that you worded that. And you're on a show here with three middle-aged white men with not a racist bone in our bodies. But this week has made everybody figure, am I doing enough? What can I do more? And I guess I'm going to ask you maybe a really difficult question to answer, but how can we do more? Is it more mass? Is it more peaceful protests? Is it education? Is it, telling young people to vote? White and black and Asian and Hispanic, everyone needs to vote, because we as a globe, as a world, I should say, need stronger leaders. We need better figureheads to actually move us through this extremely difficult time. Is that your opinion as well, or what's the kind of short and then maybe medium term goals for us as a country in North America, or indeed the world, to move forward?
Yeah, I think you hit a lot of very, very good points. And I think one of them is you guys doing what you guys are doing now. You're speaking with people, and I know Stephen better than the two of you, but I know you guys as well. You guys are very good people and would never do anything like that. So I think you guys being who you guys are already is enough for us, at least. I feel comfortable around you guys. I don't ever suspect anything of that nature at any time around you guys, or I would say even a lot of people that I've met here in Canada. So I feel like you guys doing what you guys are doing. And like Kristian said, as soon as I came on, you see me for who I am, not for, oh, he's black, he's white. You see me for Richie, not oh, that's a black kid, or whatever it may be. So that's, for me, that's good enough. And yes, and I think kids growing up now need to understand it as well, that they don't need to be, just because maybe their parents are like that, it doesn't mean they have to be like that. And I've actually had conversations with people who have told me, like, yeah, my parents are a little bit old school, but I'm nothing for it. So it's nice, so there's people that even though they're young, they know what's right and what's wrong. And even though their parents don't condone it or aren't accepting of everyone as of right now, at least the kid is. So I think with the generations to come, I hope it doesn't take too long, but this is, I would love to say eliminated, but I don't think that'll be the case for a while now, but at least toned down to a much less degree than what it is right now.
Richie, we really appreciate you coming on today to talk about everything, but especially this at this moment in time. You were going to be on anyway to talk about the New York City game, which now TFC is showing next week. It was great to talk to you about that. But this is so important that we are able to have these conversations in the open. And thank you from all of us for just being honest and open and vulnerable and being able to talk to us about this, and for what you wrote again on Twitter yesterday, and for all the TFC fans listening as well. One of the ways that we can do a small part is by talking about this. So thanks for being with us today to do that, Richie, and all the best. And hey, let's hope we see you in Orlando very soon, and that you are back on the pitch being that attacking, goal-scoring right back that you've become in the space of 12 months.
Thank you guys very much. I enjoyed speaking with you guys and touching on all these topics. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Richie. We appreciate you.
Take care.
Richie Laryea of TFC with us on Footy Talk. Still to come, we've got Janusz Michalek coming on. So important for us to be able to hear from Richie today, and for him to talk about that in a situation that has been difficult for a lot of people. I mean, over the last few days. As I said at the start, yes, we want MLS to be back. Yes, a lot of people were happy that the CBA was agreed and that Orlando is happening, but really it's irrelevant compared to what this world is all about and what Richie was just talking about, KJ.